welcome to Larnaca, Cyprus. We are bound today to Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion International Airport. We're flying a very short little leg here in our round world journey, and we have just killed a major glitch in the mighty dash. I had flown this flight twice before, and on both occasions, when switching over to manual flight, the dash, which is normally a pussycat fly, turned vicious. And it turned vicious in the form of runaway trim. Could not trim down enough, could not trim up enough. It would simply go in one direction or the other, and I finally figured out what the problem was. I'm flying a new Thrustmaster HOTUS Warthog yada yada thingamajig, and I've got a thumb switch set up in FSUIPC to do trim, one to do trim up and one to do trim down, and here I'll show you. Well, here, first thing I'll do is I'll show you. So that's our trim moving, and there's a little chirp when it moves a lot, and here it is coming back. And that's all well and good, and that's exactly what it should be. However, what was happening was I would trim down, trim up a little bit, and all of a sudden it would start moving the trim whoosh, way up or way down, and could not. It was mostly way up, and the plane obviously would go into a stall. There was no amount of forward pressure, stick pressure, that could overcome it. And so basically we were hosed. I believe there's a way to mess with that by disconnecting this, but I haven't been practicing it, and so I didn't want to try it out with passengers in the back. Well, of course they ended up along with yours truly in the drink, but figured out what the problem was, and it's actually simplicity itself, although I don't understand why it is the way it is. Let me just set a little right rudder trim here for departure. If you go into FSUIPC, you'll notice that go to buttons and switches and profile specific, and you notice when I flip the trim up button, it lights up as sometimes as A8 and sometimes as A9. You know what? We still have the problem. All right, elevator trim up should be, they're getting remapped. See how this is 6 and 7, and there's a 7 in the middle, and we don't want a 7 in the middle. This is the middle position of the switch. This shouldn't even have a button assigned to it, but somehow it does. And so let's just clear all the stuff out and let's reset it all. So clear, make sure that's clear. Okay, so now button 6, which is trim down, select for FS control, elevator, trim down, repeat while held, yes. Now, flip our switch up, and for some reason it's giving us 9. Button 9, of course, at least I think it's button 7. I think there's a switch problem in this joystick, to tell you the truth. But the most consistent button that turns up is 7, so we'll assign that to elevator trim up, and we'll set that to repeat. And if it doesn't work this time, we will punt. Alright, so let's just check. Let's trim up, let's trim down. Do it individually. Okay, there's trim up. There's trim down. So far, so good. All right. With that taken care of, I hope we're going to fly the Emida 1 departure here, which is going to take us right there. We're going to hop onto the UB-17. We're going to fly this arrival, whose name just escapes me for the moment, but we have it right here. Yada 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 yada, da da da, right here. The Solon 2 Bravo, which is going to start at Solon, plunk us down to Boaz, and shoot us right onto this approach. The wind is calm at Ben Gurion, so we're good there. And we will go Boaz, Savet, inbound, and the mist takes us out this way and back around and hold here, and boom, out that way and back around. But we're not going to do that because we will either be safely on the ground or we will be unsafely on the ground because the trim has failed again. So let's just double check. Bleeds are min, heats are on, AFCS is set, go around mode, LNAV, we're basically flying 3 miles then a turn. Let's set our local altimeter, which is because all altitude is local, 2997 or 2997 if we're being sticklers. And we cross-check that with our field elevation, and our field elevation is 20, and that is correct. However, because I reloaded the aircraft after bouncing it off of Tel Aviv, I have to say that when you do fly into Israel, if you ever do, that arrival in from Mediterranean, just sort of gliding down over the city, is quite a pretty approach. Quite a nice arrival. Especially in a 747, that is always fun. Flown into Israel once on El Al, which was, how shall I put it, interesting in terms of customer service, and flew out to Munich and then Dusseldorf on Lufthansa, which, given the history, was about as different a move as you could get. But got to fly on that one. Flew a 727 out, which was great, and then a DC-10, which was better, and had a seat right over that sweepy, stubby wing of its, and got some of the most beautiful photographs I've ever taken out of an airplane. So, you know, something to be said for all of it. Just make sure that our nose steering is in, runway heading is set, runway is verified, engines are all fine, auto feather is on, pump standby is on, flap set, trim set, and we will, guess we'll just see if it, see, now it's not doing anything. Now I'm exercising the switch and it ain't moving. You know what we're going to do? I just got a bad feeling about this. I'm just going to clear it out of FSUIPC. So we'll clear that. We'll clear that. And I don't know why there are all these other button assignments in the middle there. But let us just get rid of that. Let me see if it's assigned an axis. I don't think it is, no. All right, and now we're just going to go into prepared. Sorry to put you through this, but this'll, I hope it'll help troubleshoot in case you run into this situation. It seems like a weird one, and it seems like I'm probably going to have to get a replacement stick. And let's see. Of course, I threw out the box, so that's always good. We'll go to options and settings and controls, and we'll just set it up in prepared. Just see whether... No, I've got no trim axis set up, so that's good. Ailerons, elevators, that's it. Brakes and rudder on my pedals, that's good. Throttle quadrant, I should have nothing set up there. Alright, so go to our Warthog, buttons and keys, elevator trim, down. Oh, see, it says button 7 for down. Alright, well, let's see if it says button 7 the next time we do it. And the next time we do it. Yes, okay. Something's wrong with FSUIPC, I think, I hope. And up, button 9. Let's hit the button again and see if it still says button 9. Yes. And it still says button 9. Alright, well, now we'll test it. Hallelujah, it works going that way. And it works going that way. Alright, we're going to cross our fingers and see if we can make this work. Let me just get all my gauges all set up the way I like them. Oh, for pity's sake, there we go. Thin little borders and window, low resolution mouse, and that's what you get. Alright, so away we go. Well, before we do, condition levers are max, gust lock is off. V speeds are not set. I've got them written down next to me, but let's just very quickly put them in because, you know, we're supposed to be doing this for real, and it's better to have them bugged than not. Okay, it's 126. 126. 128. 139. That's V fry. Start bringing up the flaps then. And 152 is our V climb. And I've tested this out. There is absolutely no trouble climbing at that speed on a single engine, and that's what it's there for. This is a robust performer of an airplane in the engine standpoint. Alright, so check for stable power. It is a FADEX, so theoretically you should just be able to jam the levers forward and go flying, but we'll be gentle. Okay, power, takeoff power set, auto feather is armed. Looking for 80. We got it. Looking for 126. We gonna get it. V1 and rotate. Smoothly pull up to our, look at that, up to our 10-degree mark. Trim down a little, not that much. Alright, well the trim is working. How do you like that? And gear up. And flaps up. Looking for 1,020 feet. And 420 blackbirds baked in a pie. And in a second we'll let the nose come down naturally and we'll accelerate and bring the props back. There we go, let the nose come down. And we've got a runaway prop. Alright, that's a condition lever problem. And let us see if we can bring our number 2 back to life. what I'm going to do is I'm going to set us into IAS mode. I'm going to turn us manually at this point. And we're of course now fighting that engine, which is throwing a lot more torque into the sky than it should be. Let's see if we can get it to come back to normal. Come on. Well, now we've broken both prop controllers doing that. So let's move the levers to max. And let's just see if we can get our engine sorted out and maintain a course. We're not lacking for power. Okay, now, when in doubt, do nothing here. The engines are not going to burn themselves out on this. The temps are fine. The speeds are a little high. Both have M-top set. Let's see if we can manually set N-top as we come back on course. We can turn auto feather off. Okay, one of them is back at N-top. Let's see if we can set them both at M-top and then set them both at max climb and bring both props back. In the meantime, we are staying on course. Took a little while longer to make that turn as we sorted it out, but we're on our climb profile. Bring the props back. That's one. Can we get two? We might have to shut down number two. I suspect we will. Let's see. Okay, that's M-top. All right. Bring that one back. See if we can get them all on the same page. Okay, we're going to bring them both forward again. And we're going to keep an eye on our cabin altitude because we are still bleeds on min. I'm not going to flip that switch when it can. I don't want to have to shut down an engine just to alright, well, can't get it to come out of M-top. Let's try it again. Oops. Max climb. Yep, see the number 2 engine's behaving just perfectly. And as you can see, we're climbing quite robustly anyway. Just keeping ourselves trimmed, climbing at that right speed. Let's turn our bleeds to normal. And we're going to do something only somewhat well advised. We are going to shut down number 1 engine, let it cool for a second, let it reset itself, let the computer reset itself. We are climbing just fine. Our gear is up. We don't need an inordinate amount of rudder, but we will in a second. So we're going to shut down number 1. And because this is the mighty, mighty dash, we're still going to climb. I'll tell you, that condition lever is giving us trouble. Anyway, let's feather number 1 and proceed with our climb. Throw in a little bit of right rudder and turn on our power transfer. It's all on. That's good. We're going to climb a little bit shallower, but not by much. And as you can see, that's Cypress in the background. And we are still going upstairs, and we're still on course. And what we'll do is we will restart number 1. Okay. $1,000 away from our top of climb. We'll bring both engines up to max speed. And there we go. All right, now let's see if we can now pop ourselves into cruise as we sneak up on this. We're doing this all hand flying. Okay, now I'm going to bring our props back. These levers are killing me. I think I have them set up wrong, but they could be just lousy. Again, the throttles are great. Yep, look at that. It does a little dipsy doodle every time you do that. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. This is silly. Move this to max cruise. And they're still hosed. Alright, let's put our autopilot in, level ourselves off, bring our power back a bit. That sometimes cures it. Let it fly the plane for the moment and work on our condition levers. Okay, that works. That's 1. And that's 2. And that's 3. Alright, let's try it again. Moving forward. Let them stabilize. Monitor our speed and altitude and our course. We're good. We've got a little weather though. Yet another thing to worry about. Okay. See, these are going at max continuous power. And okay. Okay, we can't get them to M-top. Can we check our weather? Let's deviate while we're troubleshooting here. Let's just deviate a little bit to the right and avoid this weather. So what we're going to do is go into nav, maneuver, cross track, plus key, make that a right, make this 2 miles, enter, and away we go around the storm automatically, so we can troubleshoot without also flying through the nasties. Alright, we're going to bring our power back. I'm going to try and get max cruise here set up, but I can't. Oh, we got max climb. Okay. Little progress here. And we got max cruise. Okay, so we're back to normal, and you see, we're deviating to the right around the weather. These condition levers are funky. And look at what we just went around, you see? We just went around a spot of bother, and we're just going to find ourselves a little spot in the clouds. What I discovered using the cross-track function is that it will not let you do a deviated path like this. It doesn't, in some versions of this FMS and MFD, in some versions of the dash, it shows a yellow line that marks your deviation, but I'm just going to use the heading bug little thing there just to indicate that's our deviated track. It seems you cannot set it to deviate throughout your entire flight plan, only from one waypoint to another waypoint. So it only works for individual legs, but it still can come in handy. And we'll get our speed up a little bit. And we can now turn our power transfer units off. And we can check pressurization is fine. We're not that high anyway. We can now turn our lights off. We can tell our passengers get up, those who haven't already relieved themselves in place, to go and do it in the proper location. We've got no ice. Our engines have survived. And we're going to deviate to Velux and hope that will do the trick. We'll also set standard altimeter because in our haste we did not attend to that. That was task saturation in action. As we skirt the boomers, still working through hardware issues, as you can tell, and the runaway trim thing was a real nightmare, so glad we fixed that, or at least we'll see. I was in the midst of flying a wonderful arrival. I was finally shaking the cobwebs loose, and really was it was a beautiful, high-speed, efficient, everything in the right place, at the right time sort of deal. But as soon as I switched over to hand flying, the trim ran away, and the aircraft with it. It was a little bit akin to that poor unfortunate MD-80 that went so badly wrong with Alaska Airlines when they had a runaway, elevator or stuck jack screw, and they did apparently a valiant job of trying to hold it together, and they almost succeeded. So I did not, because I couldn't get us nose down at all. Flaps in, flaps out, stick full forward, power off, power on. None of it would stick long enough because the nose would keep bobbing up, and let's just take care of our icing here. And ultimately, of course, the plane stalled and spun, and that was all she wrote. We will try to do better. No, we will do better. Let's just set up our arrival. Tell you, some days you get the bear, some days the bear gets you. We want, let's see, I think it's Solon at 12, Yes. 12 for 6. Looks good. 12 minutes away. Set up our HUD. Our field length is, field elevation is 96. Our runway length is, I'm rounding off, but it's in my metric conversion is 10.5. There's a 400-foot displaced threshold. We will not let it fool us this time, and we'll also not get low the way we did before. Alright, so now, having passed Velux, it is returning us to our normal track as we expected. What I'm also going to do is, let's just check our freaks. 110.9 and 076. Plug that in. $110.9. And we'll also keep handy Ben Gurion, which is at 1135. Make sure our speed isn't getting away from us. It's close, but we want to make up for a little lost time. So we'll put in our standbys on each side, 1135, and we can switch among them at will. I want to have the localizer set up the same in both sides because that's generally standard operating procedure. But I also want to have Ben Gurion available because we're going to be flying that in case we do a missed approach. And now let's set the inbound course, and we do that thusly. On the first officer's side, that's easy. It's already there. And we set it to 076. On the captain's side, because it is not here, and we don't want to switch out of pink needles, what we do is we hold down the format button. It automatically switches over. 110.9, let's just confirm that that is 110.9, yes. And 076, and now we can set the course in a preview fashion. And let me just pull back on the power a little bit because we are right on the hairy edge. There we go. Alright, and 076 should be our inbound course. And now we hold that down again. And we are getting closer and closer here. 9 minutes. We'll spin our altitude bug down to 12 because we know in the Mighty Dash we can do anything we want here as long as we don't set a mode and a rate as well. So you watch, I can pop into a vertical speed mode, and as long as it's 0, we're still not going anywhere. Pitch hold mode, still not going anywhere. You know, IAS mode, we're not going anywhere. So let us just go back into altitude hold mode, and we're going to wait for VNAV to enunciate here, and not to enunciate, the VNAV ladder to pop up here, and then we'll switch into that mode. Again, we're skirting a little bit of crap. And where is my key to look at the HUD? don't have a zoom in for the HUD. I'm HUDless. Alright, well, we can fix that. Get that old HUD right where we want it. It's right in between. I hate that. There we go. Alright, so let's set that up as a view in Easy Dock. Oh wait, there's the HUD. Oh, I got no key attached to it, that's why. That is fine, yes. Now, there we are. Okay, good. I don't think I'm going to use the HUD, but just in case. A little less power. The air is getting a little denser. And Leon is getting larger. There we are. Right on the edge. 7 minutes from TOD. Let's see what these storms look like that we're flying around. Hey, that's pretty cool. That's a good looking shot. Rec soft clouds. Active sky next. Prepared 3.1. At the moment I'm on a Asus Z170 Deluxe with a 6700K and a 980 Ti, and so far, fingers crossed, so good. The frames are not as good as my 5820 was, probably because I can use fewer cores here. On the other hand, I broke my 5820 board, and so not broken always works better than broken. I'll just swing on over here, and I'm going to set the, you know what, we should be able to see the flight plan here. I forgot to cross-fill it, so let's do that. Data. I'm going to keep an eye out for here for our VNAV to be ready for us. So exfil, flight plan, there we go. Alright, now we're good. That's what it looks like. I'm going to keep a fairly wide view of it here and a tighter view here. That way I can always glance over and get a look at the big picture, and I can always look here and get the finer details. There are all sorts of neat little tricks you can do. And we'll keep our speed up. And in about a nanosecond, we should be getting our VNAV indication. I think it comes up when you're 20 miles, within 20 miles of TOD, but I'm probably mistaken. I should study that up a little more. Play with our rudder trim a little bit. Shouldn't be causing PIOs like this, though. That's not public information, officer, by the way. That's pilot-induced oscillations, and that's never a good thing. All right, we'll seat the passengers, and I'm going to do a bunch of things once we start to come down a little bit that normally you do later on in the arrival, but because we're going to be doing it ourselves and hand flying it, we'll kind of take care of business a little early. It's not going to hurt the airplane to have the auxiliary and standby pumps running just a little bit prematurely. It'll obviously wear them a little bit, but you know, nobody's counting. That is our decision height, radio altitude, And our MDA is 296. So we'll set it to 300, and that's barometric. Again, waiting for top of descent. Looking at our approach. Okay. Looking good. Feeling good. Let's check our weather. LLBG. Okay, scant wind 3003, and we've got scattered clouds. We've got sort of a marine layer overhead. It's higher than it was a little while ago, so it seems to be blowing away and lifting. But 3003 it will be. There is VNAV. We will arm that. And we will spin the bug around. And we'll put 3003 in our standby. Check our radar. Nothing really remarkable. And this is our distance to the field. 47 miles. It says we're in the terminal phase now, which means we can arm the approach, and we will. And I'm actually going to spin the altitude down to 2400 and put a floor on it there, because that's the altitude at which we want to intercept the glide slope. So we will use VNAV guidance to get us down to that point, but then we'll tell it to stop there. And I should set a VAP, which is 131. And I believe we're good to go. Excuse me. Long day of flying. Done this flight 3 times today. Well, 2.5. And it's a lovely flight. And the arrival, you know, over the Mediterranean onto the coast is quite lovely. We're going to be doing something similar when we fly to Dubai. Another one of those ocean and float over a bejeweled city and down to a quite a hell of an airport. Or if you're Canadian, quite a heck of an airport. And because everyone is counting on me, I'll try not to screw this one up. Okay, here we come. I will roll off the power very slightly. I want to keep us right at barber pole speed so that we can squeeze the maximum time efficiency out of this flight. This is not necessarily the most fuel efficient way to do it. Probably staying at cruise a lot longer and doing a very steep descent closer to the field with less power probably is better from that standpoint. Mainly because jet engines are much more efficient at higher altitudes, or at least burn the least amount of fuel. little more power out. The precision, at least of the power end of these levers, is excellent. I will, of course, work on what's going on with our props. All right, round comes the heading bug. Just check where it's got us trimmed right now. Okay, that's a reasonable place to be. And we are going right into a little bit of funkiness, but not serious funkiness. And a little more power can come out because our rate of descent is increasing. The VNAV will adjust the rate of descent to hit certain constraints, and it is incumbent upon you, the pilot, to, if you want to maintain speed, to manage power appropriately. Okay, that's done. That's done. Bleeds can come to min. Standbys and auxes can come on. Auto feather stays off. Okay, here's where we are. $6,000 is our next constraint. We are 20 miles away. We could descend 6,000 feet in that distance, or if we really wanted to get extreme, we could descend a lot quicker in that distance. So what we're going to do is, because of that, we can just bring that speed up a little. Again, in the name of just getting us there. And we're through 10, so we'll set local. And local in this case is 3003. Bing. Our ice protection is on, probably because we're going to go through a layer of it, so why the hell not? Just keep that speed in check. Looking good. Let's see where we are with respect to the localizer. We are cutting across it, which is exactly what we should be doing. In a second, we're going to turn towards an intercept heading. And we'll slow below 250 as we should. I'm going to set up for a reduced noise profile arrival. We're planning flaps 15. Our GPWS landing flap warning switch, which will say too low flaps if it's set to one thing and you've got your flaps on another, is set correctly. And we're just going to maintain our speed here. We're going to maintain an even strain. Do a little trimming. And by little, I mean a real little bit of rudder trimming. There you go. We're doing everything possible to make it so that we don't experience the technical condition known as all fucked up. We're in IMC now. Monitoring our instruments. Doing our scan. Attitude, airspeed, rate of descent, target to hit, track, all good. All lovey-dovey. Okay, and you see the DME is not changing very much because we're basically going crosswise to the field. Round we come. Let's put ourselves into heading select and pitch hold. Okay, we'll hold that picture. Now we're going to vertical speed, and that shouldn't have popped up like that. Okay, that's all right. We can come down to 5. And we're going to switch over to our blue needles. Switch the nav source to there. And we're going to get ourselves on a little bit better intercept towards the localizer. Now I'm walking. Why does it do that? Look at that. Alright, I got bad controls here. Not good. We're going to be a little bit high. Stay in heading select mode. Wait for the localizer to come in. Now watch, I'm going to move 1 notch back here and it jumps 10. Alright. I'm just going to have to adjust the knob here and work on my joystick later. At least the heading bug is working. I don't like the intercept angle it's putting us on though, following this flight path. So let us grab it a little bit sooner. Okay, we can come down to 3. We're going at a nice, reasonable speed. And we've been cleared direct to the ILS-08 approach. So we'll put ourselves in approach mode. It will be looking now to capture when it decides it's ready. We can put in 1 notch of flaps. And I'm going to descend us a little bit faster here. Both to get us below this deck and also because I want to not capture the glide slope from above. Actually, I don't think there's a threat of that. It's deflected full off scale in the other direction, and we are far enough out. We are maintaining a nice even speed and a nice even strain. Our ILS is identified. Our course is correct. And we are a comfortable distance away at a reasonable speed. Probably didn't need to throw out that first notch of flaps, but we're mentally committed. Okay, it's captured the localizer. Let's see if it turns us. And it is. Good. And we will arrest our sync right there. And we'll set our runway heading there. And we will wait for the glide slope to come in, and then we will fly the airplane. And there's the coastline. And we're 17 miles out. We are good as gold. We're gumped and pumped. And we are lighted and delighted. And here comes the glide slope. Alright. At this point, since I really do want to check out the trim and everything else, I'm just going to fly the airplane here. Okay, we'll keep ourselves level. Let's see if the trim's working. It is. And as soon as we hit the glide slope, we will drop our gear and slow to approach speed. When this works, it works. Okay, down can come the gear. In can come a notch of flaps. And in can come the second notch of flaps. And off can come the power. And I might have to do a raw data approach because my flight director doesn't agree. There we go. Our flight director does not agree with the glide slope. Alright, well, we can do that. Okay, now I'm deliberately a little bit low because I need to slow down. But not that much. Alright, we're still rusty as hell. Just settle into a groove here. There we are. Alright, start to come down again. Not looking at the runway yet. Pretty much on speed. Almost online. Just going to fly this raw data, and I'm going to pop up my head at minimums. Still looking down, and I just drifted off course. Don't you hate when that happens? Okay. Slowing. Getting about 3 degrees nose up.
500.
Okay. Turning back onto the loc.
Light slow. Light slow.
And again, the displace threshold gets me.
Plus 100.
Alright, correcting a little. Trimming a little.
Minimums. Minimums. $100.
Good.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Alright, reasonable. Not great, but deeply reasonable. And since it's a very long taxi back, and it's been a kind of long day, we will leave it here. Get a good look at the former Lod Airport. And there's the VOR. And we will see you next time when we fly to Dubai. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.